Alright, it's back to it. I guess I apologize for me sounding like crap and sniffling and probably sneezing. Oh, I feel like total shit. Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Chain. This is probably the biggest one for me. It took me a long time to find the right chain of the right size that wasn't too heavy, wasn't too chintzy, and wasn't going to hold up. When I first started doing a lot of this, I went through I'd go to all these different stores and just buy like a foot. I think people thought I was crazy probably. I went through and I would buy like a foot of each type of chain that I thought looked good, and I must have had probably about 10 or 12 different chains. I went to Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, Ace Hardware, Aco, Menards. At least Menards now, their chain selection is horrible. I looked through catalogs, and trying to buy chain online or in a catalog is really difficult because the sizes that they say it's just not easy to picture it and to hold it in real life. It's easier to see if it's going to work if you can actually see it and hold it and match it up with a handle or match it up with a weight. So, the chain that I use the majority, well, I have two that I use the majority of the time. One is the gold chain, which it's a brass chain. You see, I just bought a bunch of it just because it's going to match something else I'm doing with this new Kasarigama that I'm building. You can get from Lowe's, and this is where I get the chain when I'm in a pinch and I need it really quick, or I run out of my other chain that I use. So this is kind of, the quick chain. The only downfall is that it is plated, and it's got a brass color to it. And this coating, if I do use it and I don't want this coating, I have to sandblast this off and then recoat it with either a black oxide, but that's the chain that I really prefer to use, this kind of size. This is actually a number, I think it's number 2 chain, yeah. It's trade size number 2. And I do occasionally use number 4. It's a little bit smaller than this, but they're both welded. You can buy a number 2 and a number 4. It's a straight machine chain from Tractor Supply or McMaster-Carr. Tractor Supply, it is plated in like a nickel or like a shiny steel. You do have to sandblast that off, but it doesn't look that bad if you don't. It looks fine by itself. McMaster-Carr, which I actually printed this out. You can actually find it there. You can see it's a general utility steel chain, not for lifting. It is welded, and those are the two that I use right there. You can see the workload limit is 215 and 325. You can buy it in different lengths. You got to buy it in large quantities. You can't just buy 2 feet of it. But you have to focus in. It's either 99 cents a foot or $1.33 a foot. So for the number 4 chain, you can buy 10 feet of it, and it's only going to cost you $10. Plain finish, which means there isn't any coating on it, so it's easily black oxided, easily takes a patina, or it just looks like plain steel that you can easily coat. Here's the other biggest thing too, is a chain's got a lot to do with your personal preference. These are the two that I find that I like the most, that I think work well. There's a good balance of strength, size, and weight. And like I said, the chain from McMaster-Carr can be bought with no coating. A lot of hardware store chain is probably going to have some type of zinc coating or a nickel coating to help prevent rust while it's sitting on their shelves. Like I said, I remove that with sandblasting, but Not everyone has access to a sandblaster. So these are I mean, this is my preferred chain, is a number 2 or a number 4 trade size machine chain. It is welded. It's not just, you know, bent together. Do you have to use welded chain? No. You absolutely don't. Regular chain will work just fine. It'll still be strong. It's just, when I first started doing this, a lot of people that I would make stuff for, you know, said, oh, can you make sure it's got welded chain? I don't want it to break. And I would try to explain to them, dude, your other chains that aren't welded, you're not going to break them. And they're like, well, we just want to make sure. So that's why I use this now. I just got used to using welded chain. And it makes people feel comfortable that, oh, Kasari Fundo's got a chain that can, you know, hold over 200 pounds. Well, that makes you feel better than a non-welded one that can hold, you know, 150 pounds. Sure. So that's pretty much where I get my chain from. Like I said, I really wish they didn't sell this gold, nickel, brass plated, whatever the hell they call it. Because this would be a great chain if it was just plain steel. But if you're okay with this color, hey, that's pretty much what I use. But I sandblast it off and put a black oxide coating on it. So that's chain. Like I said, this one's going to actually be staying brass, because trying to sandblast that much chain is a pain in the ass. It is not fun. Next, we're going to go on to rope. This is where it gets pretty easy. Hemp rope, which I really love to use. It's soft, it's strong, and it's really inexpensive. It's not expensive at all. You can get it in 6mm, 8, and 10. You can even get more sizes than that. I prefer the 6 and the 8. And I get it from a place called Turkey Foot LLC. It's like a kind of like a mom and pop store where they sell a lot of stuff from 18th century America, like colonial America and pioneer America, but they also sell hemp products, and that's where I get my rope from, and it's great rope. If you want to buy rope that's hemp rope that's pre-colored, and trust me, there are places to get it, but you're gonna get weird looks from people if they see your computer, because I typed in, you know, colored hemp rope or black hemp rope, and a lot of places that came up with, oh yeah, you can get all these different sizes, black, red, green, blue, all different colors, but a lot of the stores that sell them online are like Japanese bondage sites. I think one's called, I know the one that sticks out in my mind. I think it's called Jade Rope. .com. And yeah, if people don't know you and they look at your computer and they see that you had it on there, luckily my wife knows that I'm already a little weird with all these weapons and everything, so when she saw it, she's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because she knew what I was buying the rope for. So that's a good place to get hemp rope, is Turkey Foot LLC. If you want to buy it from there and you want it colored, you can buy dye. And I've done this before, it just gets a little messy. You can buy fabric dye from Joann Fabrics. I think Michaels has it too. All different colors you can think of. Just make sure you buy it for the natural or synthetic material. I did that one time and it didn't turn out very well. White nylon rope. Like I said, you can get that in bundles at Home Depot or Lowe's. Lowe's does sell a 3/8 inch thick, which is about 8mm black nylon rope. And from what I can remember, I was just there yesterday, and I think it was like 38 cents a foot. And that's not a bad rope. That's pretty good if it's something that you want to get real quick or you don't want to wait for shipping or anything. Sisal and manila rope, I would equivalent that to like almost like a straw rope. You can buy that really cheap, once again, at Home Depot or Lowe's. Comes in bundles. The white nylon, I use a lot of that for my training weapons that I make. Just because, to me, white, for some reason, white means training. I don't know. But in a couple of my videos, a long time ago, I took some, it was a white nylon rope that had like a cotton blend to it, and I tried to dye it, and I only used for natural material dye, and it was kind of cool. It kind of turned out like checkered, which if you look back in my earlier videos, it was one of the rope weapons that I made or something like that, where it was like purple, and it was like a checkered look, and it actually turned out pretty cool. So sometimes mistakes end up turning into something pretty neat. But I like using this hemp rope from Turkey Foot LLC. It comes in a natural color. Like I said, I've dyed it before, but I really like the natural color of the hemp rope. Like I said, if you want a other rope, like I said, I think this is the company, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it is jaderope.com. Just, like I said, be warned when you go in there. But their prices aren't bad. So that's pretty much the rope that I use. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to get. I think this Turkey Foot LLC, I got a package from them. I think it was the day before my wedding, with a bunch of hemp rope, and then my wedding night, or the night before my wedding, I spent watching ninja movies, and I made a rope ladder and something else. So yeah, they got good shipping. Next, we'll go on to coatings, and this is going to cover all types of coatings. I like putting a clear lacquer, which is just comes in a can. It's Rust-Oleum clear lacquer. Get it at Lowe's or Home Depot. I like giving a lot of my wood and steel a blast of this. It just really helps give it an outer coating to prevent rust. I know a lot of the stuff that I make won't rust, because when you black oxide something or use gun blue, that actually is a type of rust that's very dark and evenly coats. So no other rust will form on it, but I just like to give it an extra coating just to kind of give it a protectant. That's just my personal preference, especially with anything that's got wood. I like to give it a shot of clear lacquer over the stain or something like that. It makes it look better. But I normally do a clear lacquer over everything that I do. The next two are pretty much the same. Gun blue, you can get that at like Gander Mountain, Dunham's, any sporting goods or gun store. It just comes in little bottles. Just make sure your steel is really super clean before you do it, or the bluing won't take. I think you can get a bottle of it for like $9. A little bottle about probably like that big, which it lasts a while. Or you can get black oxide coating, which is pretty much the same thing as what gun blue is. It's just an industrial version. It just means it's more expensive and you get a bigger jug. You can get that from KBC or McMaster-Carr. I think you can get it's a big bottle of it for like 40 some bucks. That's why I don't even use that as much as I can. I like to use the gun blue just because it's cheaper to get and it's easier. I've used that a couple times, but this is the stuff that it will get, if it gets too old, it will kind of almost go bad. It won't coat as good, which is the last problem that I had. So I won't be buying this again. I'm just going to keep buying the gun blue. I don't use that much of it that often. Wood stain. This is all personal preference. What color wood stain you like to use on your wood handles or whatever. Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, even Michaels, they sell all different types of wood stains. I have a custom wood stain that I use on everything that I do. One of my friends is a manager at a Sherwin-Williams, and he made a custom stain for me. And I've just stuck with that because I really like the darkness of it, and Well, you see in all my other videos, all the wood is stained that color, so that's my kind of like trademark color, I guess. So that pretty much covers coatings. I mean, I don't really do a lot of other coatings or anything like that. How many more pages do we got? Jeez. Glue. Glue, I like using, and yet I don't. I never use glue to actually permanently fix something. I use glue and epoxy just to temporarily hold something in place until I can permanently fix it. With all my commas, I put glue on the tang and stick it into the locking collar. I let the glue dry so that when I drill my holes and put my pins in, I know nothing's going to move around on me. I use a 2-part 5-minute epoxy. You can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot. Gorilla Glue, I like using that on when I'm gluing wood to metal and it's not being pinned or anything. It's just being held there just until I can use it for something else. But Gorilla Glue you can use pretty much anywhere, but it does expand, so you got to use it very lightly because you'll actually split things with it, which I did when I was trying to make a wood handle once. Wood glue I use on occasion, not as much, but you'll get these at any hardware store. Super glue. I do use a lot of super glue. That's what I like to when I'm wrapping something with a cord or leather. When I finish off the end, I like to put some dabs of super glue on there just so it doesn't fray, and it kind of cleans up the end of it. That's just my personal preference with super glue. And I actually get my super glue at the dollar store, and I think that's the best place to get it. You can get these little small tubes for, I think there's like 3 in a package for $1 at the dollar store, and they got all different types of super glue there, and it's not an off-brand. It is super glue. Instead of going to Lowe's or Home Depot or a hardware store and buying it for like $4, you can get it for $1. So super glue I use for cords and when I tie off handles with stuff. I just like to kind of secure it with super glue. It doesn't have a color or anything, so it doesn't affect it. Just kind of make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Next on the list, cleaners. This has to do with cleaning any marker or anything else that's on your steel. If you're getting ready to blue your steel or blacken it, you want to make sure it's really clean. I use denatured alcohol. That gets a lot of marker and other markings that I put on my steel when I'm tracing stuff out. You can use mineral spirits to really clean it up. If you even want to go to lacquer thinner, I use denatured alcohol for a lot of it. You can buy it in small cans at Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards. Mineral spirits, not so much. Lacquer thinner, Scotch-Brite. This is what I use to scrub down when I'm getting ready to blacken something. I'll scrub it with Scotch-Brite. You can get it in big pads. And like I said, Home Depot or Lowe's, Menards. It's just a good light, what do you call it? It's a light abrasive pad that you can use. Hell, I've even used the old school green and the green and yellow blocks that you use for your kitchen. The yellow sponge with the green pad on it. Use that green side. So that goes over cleaners. I only have 5 minutes left. Can I squeeze all this in? We will see. Leather. This one's a little tricky. Leather can get really expensive. For any leather or leather tools, I would suggest TandyLeatherFactory.com. Once again, if you live out on the West Coast, I know there's one in California, but I'm lucky enough to have one here in Metro Detroit. They have the best selection of leather tools and leather. I don't work with this stuff a lot. I just use small pieces. But if you're looking to make a Schuco, go on eBay and type in 2-inch wide leather. Search for belt leather, and you'll find like a 36-inch piece of it for like $10 with $4 shipping or something like that probably. So leather, just go to Tandy Leather Factory. That's what I use. I usually use anywhere between 8 to 10 ounce tan leather, but like I said, I don't use it a lot. If you go to like Joann Fabrics or Michaels, they do have bags of scraps of leather, and I have bought that before and gotten some really good pieces out of it and be able to make what I need. You're not going to get huge pieces to make armor out of, but you're going to get small pieces to make whatever. The finger claws that I can't remember what they're called. They're little claws that you put on your finger. They're all made out of leather that was from a scrap bag. I got it at Michael's for like $5. So, fabric and foam. Joann Fabrics that's where I get all my fabric from. And Michael's, they have foam pieces in their craft section, all different colors for like 99 cents. If you wanted to pad anything. But Joann Fabrics has got great. Well, it's the only place that really has fabric around by me. But definitely, if you go in there, sign up for their emails for Joann Fabrics and Michaels, because you'll get a lot of discounts. Like Michaels, I get like a 50% off one item, like once a week coupon, and I can go in there and buy something sweet and get it 50% off. I can buy a new leather punch that they might have in stock, because every once in a while you find random leather things at Michael's or Joann's. And I got 2 minutes and 35 seconds. I think that should be good for fasteners. Solid rivets. These are solid steel rivets. I don't use these too much because they're not fun to work with. You can get those at McMaster-Carr. Regular rivets and eyelets. You can get at knifekits.com, Joann Fabrics, or Michaels. They have different sizes. Same with grommets. I use these a lot when I need to run holes through fabric and affix rope or chain to it. But if you're looking for any kind of rivet or eyelet or any kind of specialty fastener, like Chicago screws, at least that's what we call them at my shop. Where you can, it'll actually be a spacer in between. That's where your knife goes, your knife handle, and this goes in the other end, and it's mounted flush, kind of like that. There's actually a section there with a threaded piece that bolts into it. But yeah, if you're looking for any kind of fastener, nuts, bolts, stuff to affix handles, rivets and eyelets for doing kydex, go to knifekits.com. That's where I get all my stuff from. They have the tools there to do it. It can get a little pricey depending on how much you want to spend, but that's really where I get a lot of my fasteners from, especially rivets and eyelets, because they have nice black ones there, and they got gunmetal ones in cool colors. So that's pretty much where I get a lot of my material from. In either of these videos, I'm going to be watching these videos closely. If there's any questions about where to find anything else that I didn't go over, go ahead and post a comment down there. And like I said, I'm going to be watching these very close. I'll respond as soon as I can. Next video I'm going to go over some of the designs, and got about 5 seconds left, so one more video coming out in a little bit.